When you make a decision as to which university you want to attend, and make no mistake, Boston is a university. It's a private institution which offers higher education qualifications, which are recognized not only by the South African Qualifications Authority, not only by the Council on Higher Education, but importantly globally as best practice in the private sector in this country. When you make that decision as to which institution to choose and which course to choose, you really don't have a choice in South Africa except to go for Boston. The reality is that every one of its qualifications is geared towards people who are currently constituting the labor pool of people who are going to be employed into the private sector and the public sector. And importantly, what you're trained on is best practice, and the people who do the training are the best in their field. That's why the majority of them, I believe, don't necessarily work for Boston. They're deployed into Boston out of the private sector because of the qualities that they evidence in the working world that they then bring to the teaching environment. When you train at Boston, you need to be understanding that it is a rigorous program which has been standardized in the private sector, not in the public sector, which means that you are built to hit the road running when it comes to getting a job out there. Importantly, it's been standardized to the standards and the unit outcomes which business have said are important, not academics out there. So when you choose to register for a Boston qualification, you're registering for a purpose-built, business-ready qualification that's going to allow you to hit the ground running. Having been involved previously in establishing the platform for seaters and for what happens with your skills levy, particularly from a business perspective, I'm acutely aware of the fact that when you choose a training provider to partner with, you want to make sure that that training provider is not only accredited, in other words, that not only that it's satisfied the South African Qualifications Authority's compliance requirements, and the Council for Higher Education compliance requirements, but that the value proposition hits at your bottom line in your business. And that is that in the shortest period of time, in the most quality of ways, you have your people prepared so that whatever they are trained to do sticks with them. And importantly, on an ongoing basis, there is follow-up for best practice. Now, in my opinion, Boston is one of the best providers in this country, if not internationally, to be able to do this for the corporate sector. The corporate sector requires not only satisfaction that it has access to its 1% of skills levy, but importantly now with broad-based black economic empowerment, the other 5% of skills development expenditure can be utilized by spending it on Boston products and services. When you consider that since July 2019, you are required to spend 2.5% of your skills development expenditure on higher education qualifications, you have to look at the institutions that have spent the last 20 years designing and customizing qualifications which meet the requirements of business and of industry, not of the academic sector. So when it comes to making a decision, do I go public or private in terms of my training provision for the people who are working for me, as well as for new labor pools? In my opinion, there can be no question as to whether you go private as opposed to public, and when you go private, which institution. Boston is that institution.